Welcome to the Betson Connection Cape Atlantic League wrap-up show, our final wrap-up show of the season. I promise you that. We thought last week would be our final show, but the Mainland Mustangs extended their season, and yesterday, Woodrow Wilson won the South Jersey Group 3 championship by defeating Woodrow Wilson 42-14. I'm your host, Chuck Betson, joined by my regular co-host tonight, Ken Williams, and a special guest, the man behind the legal injunction that allowed Mainland's Jason Cairns to play Henry Bud Broome. Henry, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Betson Connection.
Pleasure.
And we invited Henry on tonight to give us an update on the story behind the story. Of course, the main story was what Mainland did on the football field yesterday, 42-14 over Woodrow Wilson Kent, a team ranked #1 in all of South Jersey, a team no one gave Mainland a chance to defeat. And not only did Mainland beat Woodrow Wilson, the Mustangs beat Woodrow Wilson soundly.
Yes, Chuck, the underdog all year. I think they liked that role as underdog. Surprised us. We were kind of hoping they could hang in there to the end and then have that good fourth quarter like they've had. But that game was over at halftime, Chuck. They just came out, had a tremendous second period, scored 29 points, and just annihilated a good Woodrow Wilson team.
4 touchdowns for Tony DeSalle. A big day on the ground for fullback Tony Tedeschi. Jeff Boyd did what he had to do. He hit Clemick with a touchdown pass. And you're going to see the game in its entirety right after this program tonight. And again, weather conditions made some of the viewing difficult, but our crew did a crack job. In fact, other crews were asking our crew for help. But let's go back to Bud Broome before we go to the phones. Take us back to Friday. You'll go to Atlantic County Superior Court on behalf of Jason Cairns, and then let's follow the story through your eyes.
Well, let's say first, Chuck, that let's not let this controversy take away from what Mainland did. As you gentlemen have just said, they did something that everyone said was impossible. Everyone said they didn't belong on the field with this team, and they went up there and they showed that the Cape Atlantic League and all the teams in the Cape Atlantic League are outstanding football teams and deserve the respect that they didn't get and haven't gotten. I know you read the paper, the Inquirer reporter, where he said Mainland High Schools whose mascot should be Rodney Dangerfield. And of course that's true. And I'm sorry this controversy has erupted because Mainland is entitled to all the credit. You know those kids, they're all great kids, and they fought all season long, and the spotlight should be on a wonderful job the coaches and the players did, and not on this other side issue, which is unfortunate.
Okay, but it is there, and it's in every paper today, and it's been all over. So, but you decided when Jason Cairns was ejected from the Ocean City game, you were going to test this in a court of law against the NJSIAA. They very rarely lose. You went to Superior Court. I was in the chambers with you. You argued, and again, we have to make this clear. The argument is not over whether or not Jason Cairns should have been ejected. The argument is that Jason Cairns get due process under the system now in place by the NJSIAA. So let's go back to Friday afternoon, the chambers of the Atlantic County Superior Court. What happened there?
Well, we went to court before the Honorable George Seltzer in the Superior Court. And as you know, Jason Cairns is a fine young boy and a very worthy kid and a very fine young man. And by virtue of the fact that he was thrown out, the rule called for the fact that he was going to lose the ability to play in the championship game. So we went to court and we made that argument that there should be due process because in this particular situation, as you're aware, the NJSIAA does not provide any room for appeal. They say no appeal, period. At the beginning of the week, we tried to get an appeal. They were absolutely firm, no appeal. So we went to court, filed a complaint, and when we got to court, our argument was that there's a whole week that elapses between the game, and there should be a procedure for appeal. After all, Chuck, if this young man were playing college football, he would have a right to appeal. If he were playing high school football in Pennsylvania, he'd have the right to appeal. If we were playing in the NFL, he would have the right to appeal. If we were playing in the NBA, he would have the right to appeal. It seems the only place where there is no right to appeal and no due process is in this particular procedure, and that's where there's an ejection from the game, a disqualification, and they won't let him appeal. Judge Seltzer was very sympathetic.
He seemed to be sympathetic, but he ruled against you, Henry Broome, and he ruled against you. He said Mainland had its due process when it agreed to belong to the NJSIAA and signed on to all their covenants and laws. That was his ruling.
That's right. And we thought that was an incorrect ruling. First, there was nothing in evidence that indicated when Mainland had joined, how they had joined, or whatever. Our second belief was, that's like saying that someone who lived in the Soviet Union when the communists were in power was voluntarily a communist. Obviously, he didn't have any choice. It's the same thing in high school football. If you want to play football in the state of New Jersey, you have to join that group. Otherwise, you have a team and no opponents. So it's not a voluntary move. It's a move that has to be done. It's an administrative move that you have to join. And that's where Mainland was, as every team is. And we were not saying that the decision of the officials should be overruled or that at halftime they should have a hearing. What we were saying was, when the events of the first game adversely affect a player in a subsequent game, he should have the right to appeal. And that they absolutely just refused any right to appeal.
All right, so you lose that ruling. I happened to be in the courtroom, and I knew you weren't going to take that as your final say. You called my show on WFPG. You told me there was going to be another hearing. You went to an appellate judge. Let's go to Atlantic City Country Club on Friday night during a wedding. The judge, on his way down for a wedding ceremony, he steps out of the wedding ceremony, much to the chagrin of the bride and his wife, and chastising him for watching football tapes while a wedding's going on at the Atlantic City Country Club in Northfield. Take us to that hearing, Mr. Broome.
But what happened was, obviously, the NJSIAA was represented at the first hearing by an attorney. You were there, and we advised him immediately upon Judge Seltzer's opinion that we were appealing. We notified the appellate division of the emergent nature of the appeal, and they assigned Judge King from Woodbury to the case. Judge King, as you indicated, was on his way down to Atlantic City to a wedding. And he said for us to meet him at 6 o'clock at the country club. When we got to the country club, the wedding was still going on, and they said he wouldn't be there until 7 o'clock. So at 7 o'clock, he arrived, and we had the hearing in the lobby of the Atlantic City Country Club.
Wait a minute. Now, this is an incredible story. You couldn't write a script for this if you were writing a successful movie script, Judge. What's it like? You're on tables and chairs inside the corridors.
We're all sitting there in the lobby on the couches around a coffee table. It's like a Christmas story. It's like Tiny Tim, and Tiny Tim was there in the person of Jason Cairns, and Coach Tetley was there. Harry Franks was there. Harry is another lawyer who's here tonight who helped in the case because he and I had a case against each other, and we were discussing this matter. And he said, I'd like to get involved in that because my dad was a Pennsylvania State High School appeals official for 35 years. And Harry was very helpful. And so we were all there, and the judge heard all the evidence. He looked at the medical reports. He looked at the tapes.
He looked at the video from Salmon's Cable Channel 2, as well as video that Mainland had taken on the sideline from the local station at Mainland High School.
That's exactly right. He also looked at the report filed by the official. And you couldn't square the report by the official with what the tape showed.
All right. But you win that. You get the injunction against the state from suspending Jason Cairns. And now Ken Williams, let's take it to our side of the story. We travel Saturday to Woodrow Wilson, and you interview Boyd Sands before the game. What did Boyd tell you?
He had already talked to Coach Coffey, and he said that they were appealing to the state Supreme Court this week. He said that he informed Coach Coffey that if Jason Cairns played and they won their appeal, that they would probably have to forfeit the game. Okay? And he made that very clear. And he also asked me if I knew if the principal was there, and I said no, but I assumed she would. And he, at that point, was looking for the principal. Now, whether he found Dr. Crew or not, I don't know.
Okay,
but
here's what Bobby Coffey faces, right. And we have to really reiterate this now. He goes into the game. Not only does he have to worry about Woodrow Wilson and the great passing attack they have, now he's concerned on whether or not he lets Jason Cairns play. Can Mainland, if they win, forfeit the game? And I think Bobby Coffey made a courageous decision by allowing Jason Cairns to play again. This is just my opinion. I think at the time the issue had grown maybe larger than anyone had hoped it would have become, but Bobby owed it to his senior, to this player who's been a leader, to allow him to play. And interestingly enough, Ken and Henry, the media, the columnists from throughout the area, the press doesn't have one, But the Courier Post and the South Jersey edition of the Inquirer, the two respective columnists, Phil Anastasia and Sam Carchidi, seem both to agree with Bobby Coffey's decision to allow Jason Cairns to play. I quote the end of Phil Anastasia's column. But given the NJSIAA's legal record, it will be an even bigger upset if Mainland doesn't lose the title in court. The Mustangs knew that coming in Saturday. They knew the risk they were taking. For that, they deserve double congratulations for winning a game and for taking a stand. That's Phil Anastasia in the Courier Post. Sam Carchidi in the South Jersey edition of the Inquirer. And he's been a writer who really has not given Mainland a lot of credit all year. He says Mainland stuck up for its principles, and then, like it has done all season, it thrived in the role of an underdog and made itself a viable contender for the #1 ranking in the Inquirer's final South Jersey top 10 poll, which, by the way, will come out tomorrow. So here we have the media seeming to take the side of Mainland in this story, which really has grown into a story that could result in the laws of the NJSIAA being changed. This Henry Broome and this Ken Williams could be a landmark case. Ken?
I think, from a coach's point of view, they want an appeal process. There is none. And I think, and I've been involved for years, the officials have too much say in a situation like this. If an official makes a mistake and it can be proven, that's the way it goes. He's right. I mean, he doesn't have to answer to anybody. And if nothing else comes out of this, if an appeal process comes out of this so that the officials are also accountable, it's well worth it.
Henry Broome, we have to go to break. Before we do, Boyd Sands has said they're going to take this to the state Supreme Court. You have a fine legal team. Are you confident this will stand up in Supreme Court?
Well, it's an interesting situation because we represented Jason Cairns. Now, what they're trying to do is strip Mainland Regional High School. Mainland Regional High School was not a party to our suit. So I presume that they'll have to take an administrative action against Mainland Regional High School. And I don't know what will happen there.
All right.
There
you have it tonight on the Betson Connection Sound Cable Channel 2. Hey, when we come back, we'll go to our scoreboard. We'll show you the highlights from the game right here on the Betson Connection CAL Wrap-Up. We'll be back right after this.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Buffalo Ring is Charlie's Bar and Restaurant, located at 800 Shore Road in Summers Pool. The guest isn't a wing thing at Charlie's. The entire menu is a knockout. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 2.5-pound prime rib special. And the Charlie's menu specializes in German and American cuisine, which is cooked to order. Charlie's specialties are excellent also. On Tuesday night, enjoy 25-cent steamers. On Thursday night, it's all-you-can-eat ribs for $10.95. And there's daily drink specials at Charlie's with $1.50 margaritas from 3 to 6 on Friday afternoon. There's also a great children's menu at Charlie's with prices ranging from $2.25 to $7.85 and a daily free luncheon special for children under 8. Charlie's is also a great place to play pool, shuffleboard, and darts. Charlie's is open Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 3 a.m., and on Sundays from noon to 3 a.m. The pickup service at Charlie's, dial 927 Food.
For the past 29 years, the Humane Society of Ocean City has provided the communities of Cape May County with a no-kill animal shelter. Each year, we handle more than 1,500 animals. Our shelter staff works hard to ensure that every animal is adopted into a caring and loving home. Our no-kill policy means that every animal remains a guest until they're adopted. Your support of the Humane Society of Ocean City is vital to our efforts to continue providing a no-kill shelter. For more information or to volunteer, call 399-2018.
The Giuliano family would like to invite you to enjoy an unforgettable dining experience. Located at Ocean Heights Avenue and Zion Road in Bargaintown, Giuliano's is open for lunch 11:30 to 3 daily and dinner from 4 till 11. Try a tempting appetizer while your entree is cooked to order. Relax in Giuliano's lounge with a snack and a cold drink. Or visit Giuliano's packaged goods store with a wide variety of spirits and cold beer. For a family restaurant with family prices, come to Giuliano's, Ocean Heights Avenue and Zion Road, Bargaintown, 927-6363.
The law offices of Broome and Bellucci have been serving the Atlantic City metropolitan area since 1966. Located at 1701 New Road in Northfield, Henry Broome and Bruno Bellucci specialize in personal injury cases. The firm also has an expertise in divorce and workmen's compensation. A law firm with a sporting touch, Broome and Bellucci would also like to wish all the athletes in the Cape Atlantic League a successful winter basketball season. Like a point guard dribbling through a full court press, Broome and Bellucci can help you find a way through the legal labyrinth. Henry Broome is a graduate of the University of North Carolina, so he knows all about the winning mystique. That's Broome and Bellucci, located at 1701 New Road in Northfield. The firm is open daily from 8:30 to 5:30. Dial 645-3100 for all your legal needs.
Hi, my name is Melanie White. I'm from the Mainland Mustang cheerleading squad. When I want high school football results, I tune to Salmon's Communications Channel 2, the Betson Connection, 5 p.m. every Saturday night.
We're back with the Betson Connection Cape Atlantic League edition. Our final show, Mainland Woodrow Wilson, coming up for you right here tonight. Chuck Betson, Ken Williams, Henry Broome, because this week, not only was it a football game, it was a legal lesson for everybody. And Henry represented Jason Cairns. You want to clarify a very important point right now.
We have to understand,
sports news.
Chuck, that we did not represent Mainland Regional High School. We represented Jason Cairns in his battle to be allowed to play in the playoff game.
Why is that important?
Well, because we served the school board attorney with the order that was issued by Judge King. And that order lifted the stay of the NJSIAA and granted Jason Cairns the right to play. If the team is, if the NJSIAA says they're going to go after Mainland, I presume that'll have to be a separate action, and I don't know what action they would have against Mainland. Mainland was served with a court order that said he could play,
Forcing the kid to play. Now,
And
there was an erroneous headline in the press about the injunction, correct?
Right? It said Mainland went to court. Mainland did not go to court.
Jason Cairns went to court.
Jason Cairns.
All right, we'll take some calls. John, you're on the Betson Connection. Let's roll.
How you doing, Chuck?
I'm doing great, John. What's on your mind?
Hi, John. How you doing?
The shootout was good yesterday.
Yeah, the shootout.
It was a very nice game.
Okay, what about Mainland Woodrow Wilson?
That was a good game. Very good game.
Did you get a chance to go up there?
No, I didn't.
All right, John. Thanks for the
You're
call.
welcome, Chuck.
6411759. That's your number to get on the Betson Connection. We're going to keep this to this issue tonight. We'll talk about the rest of the sports during the week. Ken Williams, back to the football game. We're getting ready to roll some highlights. Woodrow Wilson came in. They had two giant tackles, but it was a Mainland offensive line which soundly whipped Woodrow Wilson up front.
Absolutely, Chuck. I was really, really impressed, especially with the left side, and that was Brown, Stoll, Michael, and Wolf. The right side did a fine job also with Bud Broome and Levinson. But I was very, very impressed with that left side. I thought they did an outstanding job, and I thought Tony Tedeschi saved his finest game for the last one.
Yes, he did. He came up huge. And we got to point out, Henry Broome, one of your sons, was the backup for Jason Cairns. So if you wanted to look at this strictly on a parochial level, you would have never taken this to court. Am I not right?
That's right,
Your
Chuck.
son would have started if Cairns doesn't play.
The first game he would ever have started would have been the state championship game if Cairns didn't play.
But you take up the cost for Jason. Why, Henry Broome?
Well, I said to my young son, Christopher, I said, Christopher, you know that if we may have a chance of getting Jason back in the game, but that will mean you won't play. And he said, Dad, go get him.
Unbelievable. This story is incredible. This is really the biggest sports story of the year in this area. Ron, you're on the Betson Connection. You're on the air.
Yeah, Mr. Benson.
Yes.
Listen, in 1985,
Okay.
the Chicago Bears, what was their final record?
I give up, Ron. See the calls. We're talking about high school football. I'm not worried about that. Let's go to the highlights right now, if we can. The highlights of Woodrow Wilson, Mainland, South Jersey, Group 3 championship. Ken, played in sleet and rain. Woodrow Wilson gets on the scoreboard first.
And this was a big play by Dustin Grande, who strips David Goree of that football and saves the first touchdown.
Pardon me. I thought that was Goree taking the ball in. Actually, it's a similar play.
Yes.
Is Wallace is going to get Woodrow Wilson on the scoreboard first, Ken. And Mainland's trailing 8-0, and it looks like it may be a long day for Mainland. But they come right back. Tedeschi goes in, and again, the weather, the game gets a little better as it progresses because the rain doesn't come into our lanes. This is a pass intercepted by Brad Eisler. He kicks it off, runs it down the right sideline, it goes out of bounds. And here you'll see Lamar Clark wiping off the lens so you can see it a little bit better. Here's DeSalle running outside. Ken, that play was there all day.
Yeah, they ran that between Tony DeSalle running that the power off the left side, and for that little fullback trap inside, the Mustangs just ran it well.
And you'll watch DeSalle score his second touchdown of the football game. Going outside again, Ken, there was nobody there to contain for Woodrow Wilson.
Now, that corner showed up a little bit in the second half, but he was just non-existent in the first half.
Now you're going to see Jeff Boyd. I don't know how he did it, but he managed to find his favorite target, Dave Clemick, in the quarter of the end zone, touchdown. And you'll see that Lamar wiping down our lenses a little bit more. Not only is he a role model, but he's pretty good with the camera work. You'll see the Woodrow Wilson quarterback, Doree, this time score for Woodrow Wilson. And you're going to see the kind of pressure that Mainland put on Doree all day. That was a fumble, a sack, recovered by Mainland. You see the mud there. And Mainland didn't mind getting in that mud, Ken.
That was Casey Heemskirk, and he had a real fine game also. A couple fumbles he cost, and we couldn't read the numbers. So we didn't give him credit on the TV, but we want to give him credit now.
All right, and there is a touchdown for Mainland, and you see some of the highlights. And again, the weather conditions really made it tough. It's not as clear as it usually is on this program, but you can watch this game in its entirety. Ken, before we go to the calls, the field conditions for both teams, they were bad, so you really can't make an excuse if you're Woodrow Wilson.
They were not bad early, but after that first period, they were just atrocious, and they were not going to stop us offensively. If they had any effect at all, it might have been on Wilson's offense, but they didn't stop us all day. And if they scored a couple, so what? We'd have beat them 42-38.
All right, let's go to the man who saved the best game of his career for the last game. We got the Mainland team there?
Yeah, we got it.
I can hear you. All right, Tony, tell us about the game.
Hold on.
Turn that TV down so we can hear.
We just played as a team, and it was the best game everybody played, I think. And everybody just played together, and it was just an unbelievable feeling to win a state championship.
Tony, what led to you having such success on the ground? Did you know going in your offensive line could win Woodrow Wilson?
Well, I always had confidence in my line all year, and actually we went in, we were going to run a lot of misdirection plays because they were bigger than we were, and we wanted to catch them off balance, but then we just started running. We went back to our old offense, just ran simple plays, and the holes were wide open, and all the backs ran to daylight, and it was just perfect.
All right. What about Jason Cairns? You found out he could play. What was the feeling on the team when you found out late Friday night from the Atlantic City Country Club in Northfield that Jason would indeed be allowed to play? What was the team's reaction, Tony?
Well, I don't know how the team felt. I know I felt pretty good because it's a plus just to have Jason on the field because he's an unbelievable linebacker. And to have him in there, it's great because he put pressure on the quarterback. He could cover backs out of the backfield. And it's just a great feeling to have him play his last game and for us to win the state championship. He's a senior, so it was just great.
All right, when I asked that group over there, who's the number one team in South Jersey? That's what I thought. That's what I thought. And while we have you on, we'll give our players of the week, local 54 players of the week. And just so happens that our caller, Tony Tedeschi, is the offensive player of the week. And the defensive player of the week. Can't tell us who that is.
It's Dustin Grande, the defensive end, who had an outstanding game.
All right, Dustin Grande, defensive end, and Tony Tedeschi, offensive and defensive players of the week. And Tony, again, congratulations, Ken.
And hey, Tony?
Yeah.
Tell us, I said it's okay to take tomorrow off. Okay, if there's any problem, tell Dr. Crew I said it was okay.
All right. Kenny Williams gave you tomorrow off at Mainland. How's that? All right, Tony, thanks for making the Betson Connection. There it is, and I guess all the team has gathered together as they've done throughout the season to watch our program.
They're at Feinberg tonight, and the coaches are at Coach Geisinger's house, and we want to also make sure that we congratulate Coach Coffey and his staff for just an outstanding season. Underdogs every week, and the adversity they had, they overcame it all. And
all right, go ahead. There's another issue, Ken, and the coach of Woodrow Wilson, Darrell Wilson, was told after the game that he might have a chance to win this by forfeiture. And I think this is key as well. Here's the quote in the Inquirer in Sam Carchiti's column. He said, I don't want to win it that way. I'm not interested at all. They want it on the field.
That's exactly right. I don't think there's any coach that, in that situation, would want to title that way. And I would not be surprised if the state does do something about this, that Wilson would refuse it and there would be no for that particular year.
Does that quote affect your case at all, Henry Broome, as you probably going to have to take this to the next level?
Well, it may. I think it shows what a class operation the Woodrow Wilson team is, too. They're a fine football team, well coached, and the coach is obviously an outstanding guy. And the game was won on the field, and we'd hope that they'd leave it alone. It's over, it's done, and let the kids have their victory.
All right, we'll take one more call. Joe from Atlantic City, you're on the Betson Connection.
Yes, Chuck Benson.
Yes.
I would like to know, how did you select Ed Burns Jr., quarterback of your first team, when you have a great quarterback in Ocean City and a very great quarterback at Mainland? Could you explain that? I'll hang up and listen.
Okay, Kenny and I consulted on that, and again, it was going to be a tough decision. Ken, take that.
Young Ed Burns, we felt, was probably the best quarterback all around in the league. He's had 2 fine years. He was voted by the coaches in the conference as the #1 quarterback, and the votes for him, as compared to the other 2 boys that you mentioned, were not close. In fact, the Ocean City quarterback was not even nominated by his coach for all conference. The second team quarterback, all conference, was Mark Saul. So yes, there were some good quarterbacks. There were a lot of good quarterbacks, but we felt that young Ed Burns carried the Holy Spirit team on his shoulders and was very deserving of that award.
All right, let's go to our Calvi Electric Betson Connection scoreboard. There you see our local 54 players of the week. Tony Tedeschi, Mainland on offense, on defense. Dustin Grande, who won our defensive award. And if we can go to the Calvi Electric Betson Connection scoreboard, we'll look at some NFL scores as well as the big score yesterday. There it is, 42-14. That looks good, doesn't it, Henry Broome?
Wonderful.
See it again, right?
Absolutely.
Would be good. It was a 15-14 would be good.
And there you see Rowan could not win in the Division III finals, 36-7. And look at the NFL from today. Minnesota 23-11. San Diego beats Arizona 28-25. Buffalo over St. Louis. New England beats the Jets 31-28. Indianapolis over Jacksonville 41-31. Atlanta beat New Orleans today 19-14. Of course, you haven't seen the big score yet. There it is. Philadelphia beats Dallas 2017. San Francisco over Carolina 31-10. Cincinnati over Chicago. Detroit beat Houston 24-17. That Chicago score strengthens the Eagles' position as a wild card. Denver ahead of Seattle, and Pittsburgh and Oakland 29-10 in the fourth. Washington and the Giants, that's in the fourth quarter as well. Of course, that's brought to you by our friends at Calvi Electric. Let's go to Jimmy. Jimmy, you're on the Betson Connection.
Chuck, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Jimmy. How are you?
All right, hi, Chuck. I'll talk about Mainland. It's been a great year, I tell you. It's an unbelievable year. I tell you, it's the greatest feeling in the world winning a state championship.
Yeah, as a graduate of the school, how proud of you of the Mainland Mustangs?
Oh, very proud. And those kids are super kids, too. Outstanding.
All right, Jim, thanks for the phone call.
Welcome.
641-1759. That is the number to make the Betson Connection tonight as we wrap up our final edition here at Simon's Cable Channel 2. And we're going to bring on another attorney before we do that. Ken, safe to say this is the greatest football team in Mainland history. You coached Doug Strang and company in 1980, and that was a great team. And it's tough to compare teams. But right now, this team won 11 games. And look at the teams that had to defeat in South Jersey Group 3. You're talking Brick, a great team. Ocean City, that had to defeat the Red Raiders twice. And Woodrow Wilson.
Has to go down as the best team. They won more games than anyone. They won the conference. The team in 80 that won it did not win the conference. They lost to that school up the road there in Absecon. So I would have to say yes. It's tough to compare teams. It's tough to compare kids. There are 4 teams actually that stand out. This will probably go down, I think, with the most wins and a conference championship, a state championship, as the best team in Mainland history so far.
Okay, 641-1759. We're going to try to get one more attorney. Why don't we bring him up now? We'll get him in the middle if we can. And, just keep the camera right here before we go up there, because I promised that we would get the other attorney on that handled the case here for Henry Broome and company. Again, you can watch the Mainland game in its entirety, 42-14, right after our show, after we wrap up this program tonight. And again, weather conditions sort of makes this game tonight a little less clear than some of the games that we had. We have about 2 minutes. Henry Broome, tell us who we have on the air now, the attorney that helps you represent Jason Cairns.
This is Harry Franks, a good friend of mine, an attorney from Longport. And as I indicated at the beginning of the show, Harry's dad is an official with the Pennsylvania High School Football Association. And when I told him about the case, he volunteered his time to help, and he's a great help in bringing about the results we were able to get.
Harry, this case could be a landmark case. What led you to come in and jump on board?
Well, what had happened, Chuck, was I had been speaking to Bud about another case that we had actually against each other pending at the time. And in the discussion, he was describing to me the situation that Jason Cairns found himself in. And I had indicated to him, I will correct him in one way. My father was an official with Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association, now retired, no longer is an official. But what had happened was, based upon what he was describing to me was happening, that this individual was going to be suspended from a subsequent game without some form of hearing. And based upon Bud, I knew he had been at the game and had the tapes of the game. I was somewhat concerned that this boy might be being treated unfairly. So I did what I could to clear my calendar for Friday afternoon, and called him back later on Thursday. This was the day before the hearing that I actually got involved, and next thing I knew, I was on board.
All right, you have a couple funny segues from that hearing at the Atlantic City Country Club when the bride comes out and yells to her uncle to come back in the wedding, and the wife of the bride too. Yeah, share that with us quickly. We don't have much time.
Oh, absolutely. First off, I'm not sure she is his uncle. I'm not sure where Judge King fit into the wedding party, but I know everyone was coming looking for him. I was the one that was on the telephone that actually set the appeal up with the Appellate Division, and when Judge King's law clerk told me that he was going to be at a wedding and indicated he'll meet you right there at the country club, and I said, well, that is unusual. And the law clerk indicated to me, well, we're doing the best we can to get this heard. I said, no, that wasn't a complaint. That was merely an observation. We proceeded to the country club. The bride came out on at least 2 or 3 occasions that I remember and would indicate, and I would hear her speaking to other individuals. What is he doing? What's Judge King doing out there? And he just would say, I'm working, or something along those lines. And at one point, when she came out to see what was going on, and there were 7 or 8 individuals huddled around a small TV with a VCR showing the play over and over again that led to Jason's suspension, I heard her go back into the room and say in what I will say is a somewhat sarcastic voice, they are out there watching football. And I heard some commotion about what could possibly be going on. And it was a very unbelievable experience.
All right, that's a perfect segue to wrap it up. They were out there watching football. You're going to watch football right here tonight on Simon's Cable Channel 2. Woodrow Wilson versus Mainland South Jersey Group 3 Championships. For Ken Williams, this is Chuck Betson telling you, before we go, Henry Broome, thanks for coming out.
Thank you, Chuck.
And Mr. Franks, thanks for coming out.
Good to see you again,
High
Chuck.
school football coming up. Thanks for making the Betson Connection. Good night, everybody.